Okay, I think that Jay-Z and Beyonce are master manipulators of the media. And I also think, yeah. And I think that they are to the point, they will manipulate almost anything. Like, I think it's bad karma to lie about the state of your marriage. Jay-Z is accepted by white America because he shakes hands and kisses babies. No disrespect, because I'm a fan. But nobody brings up the fact that he stabbed somebody and sold drugs. He gets a pass. Okay, I remember when he stabbed...
Girl, this gets serious right off the bat. Do y'all remember when Jay-Z and Nas were going at each other's necks in the 90s? The diss tracks, the heated interviews, the non-stop shade, they laid everything on the table, and the streets were eating it up. And don't even get me started on the messy fan wars. But according to Wendy Williams, this beef wasn't even about hip-hop. Nope. It allegedly started over a woman. And not just any woman. Wendy claims it was Nas's baby mama, the same woman Jay-Z allegedly got pregnant, then used to taunt Nas behind the scenes. If true, that means one of rap's nastiest rivalries was fueled by betrayal, jealousy, and ego, not bars. And now, decades later, this explosive story is coming back to haunt the Carters.
People in New York City chose me, and Jay caught an attitude and started crying about it, and now they coming at your boy like, yo, Nas, you gotta be easy, because Def Jam paying them to do this, do that. Yeah. Nah, yo, I'm a rebel, I'm for the people, man. I ain't with all of that. You ain't got Donnie Ina, who's my man, paying nobody to protect me. I deal with my consequences like a straight warrior and a trooper to the death.
People really forget that Jay-Z had a whole life before Beyonce ever entered the picture. Long before the power couple era, Jay was already living wild, and according to multiple reports, he allegedly has 6 or 7 children with different women, all before marrying Beyonce. And one of those women? Carmen Bryan. Now, Carmen isn't a household name, but she found herself dead center in one of the most explosive rivalries in hip-hop history, the legendary feud between Nas and Jay-Z. Here's how it all started. Carmen is the mother of Nas's first child, Destiny. The two met while Nas was still grinding, working on his debut album. At the time, Carmen was a receptionist, first at Def Jam, then later at Capitol Records, which is how she crossed paths not only with Nas, but eventually Jay-Z too. When Carmen became pregnant, Nas dropped his debut album, and everything changed overnight. That project turned him from an unknown struggling rapper into one of the most in-demand artists in the industry. Suddenly, everybody wanted a piece of Nas, and yes, that included Jay-Z. Jay reportedly wanted Nas to feature on a track called Bring It On for his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. But Nas never showed up. No explanation. No apology. Nothing. And that pissed Jay off way more than Nas probably realized. So Jay decided he was going to even the score. And that's when he made his move on Carmen. At the time, Carmen had no idea there was tension brewing between the two rappers. All she saw was Jay-Z showing interest in her. And since her relationship with Nas was already on shaky ground, he was cheating, she was cheating, Carmen decided to lean into it and see where things went. And chilly. That decision would ignite one of the nastiest beefs hip-hop has ever seen.
Could you sleep with Nas's enemy? And the truth is, you have to ask yourself, when were Jay-Z and Nas ever enemies? Like, when were they nemesis, you know? The truth is, the dispute between these two individuals is a result of my affair with Jay-Z.
Things got messy fast once Nas found out. Carmen later admitted, he was cheating. I was cheating. The real problem was who I was cheating with. If it had been some random nobody, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But I was dealing with men in the same genre, the same industry, the same spotlight. And that's when the situation exploded. Jay-Z eventually took direct shots at Nas over the affair on his track, Takeover, and the moment that record dropped, everything went downhill. The beef was no longer subliminal, it was full-blown warfare. Nas was itching to respond. But he didn't just want to clap back with bars, he wanted to make a statement. He asked Carmen to stand by his side publicly, to prove that he still had her loyalty and that Jay-Z had no real claim. There was just one problem. Carmen was already pregnant by Jay-Z. Now she was trapped stuck in the middle of hip-hop's most vicious feud, carrying the child of one man while emotionally tied to the other. But after suffering a miscarriage, reality finally hit. Carmen realized that Jay was never truly with her. He was with her because he knew it would hurt Nas. And in that moment, everything suddenly made sense.
Point, you were pregnant by Jay?
Yes, I had a miscarriage.
Okay, this was before the whole
This is
takeover.
this was like
Okay.
before all of that.
How far along were you?
I believe I was definitely less than 3 months. It was the first trimester. It wasn't.
It was still early.
Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna have this baby and move forward with our relationship. No.
Okay. When you told Jay that you were pregnant, what was his reaction?
I told him after the fact.
Oh, you told him after?
I told him after the fact.
Okay, so he didn't even know.
No, I told him after the fact.
Jay didn't just want revenge, he wanted a storyline. In fact, many believe he was trying to recreate the same chaos that fueled the legendary feud between Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G., especially after Tupac famously claimed he'd been involved with Faith Evans while she was married to Biggie. Jay allegedly wanted that same level of scandal, drama, and emotional damage to push the beef into legendary territory. But everything changed once Carmen finally cut Jay-Z off for good. That's when Nas dropped Ether. And that record? It was nuclear. On Ether, Nas went straight for Jay's personal life, accusing him of having an inappropriate relationship with Foxy Brown, who at the time was closely affiliated with Nas as part of the firm. With that one track, Nas didn't just respond, he humiliated Jay in front of the entire world. And just like that, the feud crossed the line.
And now that Nas took a stand, people are starting to really understand, like how it is. And I just wanted to call up and let people know that this is what I've been trying to do for years. And I've always got that reputation. But at the end of the day, we made them pay up.
Yeah.
Nas didn't hold anything back on Ether. He laid it all out on the table. The betrayal, the jealousy, the resentment, and the record hit Jay-Z like a freight train. And when Jay-Z fired back with Super Ugly, the gloves were officially off. This time, there were no subliminals. Jay had almost nothing to say about Nas's skills, legacy, or credibility. Instead, he went straight for the lowest blow possible, bragging about sleeping with Carmen while she was still involved with Nas. It wasn't strategic. It wasn't clever. It was pure emotion. According to Wendy Williams, Super Ugly wasn't some well-thought-out chess move. Jay wasn't prepared for how deep Nas went on Ether, and he reacted off raw anger and wounded pride. And it showed. The track crossed so many lines that it backfired instantly. The backlash was brutal, and it got so bad that Jay-Z's own mother stepped in and forced him to apologize for the disrespectful things he said about Carmen and their daughter, Destiny. That's when everyone realized this wasn't just rap beef anymore. This had become personal, ugly, and painfully real.
Once I realized what Jay was doing, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna allow him to belittle Nas anymore. Like, I'm the only person on the planet that could belittle this nigga. I'm not letting anybody else have that opportunity.
But just when it seemed like things had finally cooled off, Jay-Z fired another shot. On the title track of the Blueprint 2, Jay went right back at Nas, doubling down on everything he had said before. He claimed he was the better man, stood 10 toes down on the lyrics from Super Ugly, and made it clear that his mother wouldn't be stepping in to defend Nas this time. And child, all of this was unfolding right when Wendy Williams was at the absolute peak of her radio career. If you were listening back then, you already know Wendy was way more fearless on the radio than she ever was on TV. She had insiders, spies, and receipts, and she didn't hesitate to use them. Nobody was safe, especially Jay-Z. According to Wendy, while Jay was publicly dating Beyoncé, he was privately promising Carmen that he was going to marry her. But Wendy claimed it had nothing to do with love, it was all about hurting Nas and winning the war. And if that wasn't messy enough, Wendy also alleged that Jay was the one who pressured Carmen into terminating her pregnancy. If true, that means this wasn't just rap beef. This was manipulation, emotional warfare, and real-life devastation, all hidden behind platinum records and chart-topping hits.
So I'm reading the article, nobody else's name is brought up. Then I run across what the couple found most, it's in the Inquirer. You got to show the cover for legal reasons. And here's the article. Okay. What the couple found most difficult to deal with, says another source, was the fact that some of the rumors were being perpetuated by people they considered friends, like talk show host Wendy Williams. Well, first of all, you're not a credible source, because if you were, then you would know I've never partied with them. I've never been to their house. I don't swim in their pool. Like, we're not friends. I'm a pop culture pundit and commentator, right? That's what you call it. Pop culture woman. And I talk about people and what they're doing when they're celebrities like you. So we're not friends, but I do like you and I respect both of their grinds, and I certainly am happy for the baby.
Wendy Williams had never been a fan of Jay-Z, and according to her, this entire situation exposed exactly who he really is. Normally, when a rap beef reaches this level, it damages the career of whoever loses. But somehow, Jay walked away untouched. And Wendy believes that's because he mastered media control, carefully protecting his image and brand, even while repeatedly hitting Nas below the belt. And honestly, the internet agrees. One person said, "Out of all the women in the world, in every single country, why do these men always end up sleeping with the same women?" But Wendy sees something deeper. She believes Jay is strategic, calculated, and methodical. That he studies his opponents, learns their weaknesses, and moves with intention. To her, Carmen wasn't the goal. She was a means to an end. Jay himself once admitted that he went after Nas and Prodigy because they were the greatest lyricists in New York. So when you look at it through that lens, it becomes clear Carmen was part of the strategy. And in that sense, Wendy is right. It was about her. But only because Jay designed it that way. Still, when the dust settled, there was no denying one thing. Nas absolutely murdered Jay-Z on Ether. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this legendary beef and the role Carmen played in it? Sound off in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.